have begun to increasingly question the effectiveness of masks as a disease preventer. And in fact, recently you have cited the issue of waiters touching their masks and touching plates. Are you questioning
I think
the
masks are
efficacy
okay.
of
You have
masks?
to understand, if you look, I mean, I have a mask right here. I put a mask on, when I think I need it. Tonight, as an example, everybody's had a test and you've had social distancing and all of the things that you have to, but I wear masks when needed. When needed, I wear masks.
Okay, let me ask.
I don't wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it. He shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen. I will say
Vice President Biden, go ahead, sir.
Well, masks make a big difference. His own head of the CDC said if we just wore masks between now, everybody wore masks in social distance between now and January, we'd probably save up to 100,000 lives. It matters.
And they've also said the opposite. They've also said
no serious person said the opposite.
Look at
serious.
Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci said the opposite.
He did not say the opposite.
We got a little bit more than a minute left in this
masks
segment.
Masks are not good. Then he changed his mind. He said masks are good. I'm okay with masks.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Spann Report podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Spann. This is episode number 312 of the report. And yeah, man, that was like 4 days ago, doing that shit show of a fucking debate, man. Donald Trump was out there talking about like how he was mocking Joe Biden for wearing masks, and judging by what we know now, boy was that motherfucking rich, man. Boy was that rich. But yo, man, it's been a wild and crazy week, politically, nationally, and social media wise and everything. And we're going to talk a little bit about all of that. But of course, before we do, I do need to remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at the Spann Report podcast and let your voice be heard. You can go ahead and hit us up on our hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. You can leave us those voicemail messages, and of course, those messages will get played here, responded to here live on the show. And if you're watching us live here on Facebook, YouTube, or Periscope, you can chop it up with us live that way as well. So you can call in the hotline, chop it up with your man Spann while we're doing the show. Area code 313-288-0485. You can also email us here at feedback@thespannreport.com. That's feedback@thespannreport.com. Go ahead and read us those emails. Send us those emails, and of course I'll read those emails and reply to those emails here live here on the show. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So you can go ahead, follow me there, chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. You can also go to our website at www.thespannreport.com. You can go there and watch replays of the show. You can vote in the polls when we decide to put those polls up. You can leave comments on the website. You can donate to the show as often as you like, as much as you like. And of course, we really do appreciate every dime over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network, man. Also, for those of you who would like to donate via Patreon, you can go to our Patreon page, and you can donate monthly. And that is what allows for us to continue to do this show here live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Periscope. So for those of you who would like to become a Golden Circle member, go ahead and hit us up on our Patreon page from the website, and you can contribute that way. And we really do appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that. Also, 5-star reviews on iTunes and or Stitcher Radio. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get read here live on the show. We really appreciate everybody who does that. It doesn't take you no money, doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network, man. Real talk. But yo, man, very eventful week, man. Real talk, very eventful week. Don't have a whole lot of random thoughts, man. Just like the season is changing, man. We got a lot of cold, wet weather here in Michigan and whatnot, and it was like doing numbers on your man Spann's body. But I feel like I'm getting to the age now where like you can start feeling the shit. Remember like how old people used to be like, man, I can feel the rain coming. Like I feel the shit now. Like I can feel it coming and shit. It's crazy. My allergies be acting up. My bones be all creaky and shit. I don't know, man. Like I ain't ready for this shit, man. I really ain't. I ain't ready for this shit. Excuse me. I did have one random thought though. Somewhere there's a boo-boo fool sitting on his porch, smoking a Newport, thinking to himself, why the fuck does everybody put me in the middle of all they bullshit, man? Because somewhat Boo Boo the Fool is like just minding his business, right? And somebody getting in trouble and some shit or whatever, and their mama going at him, talking about some, boy, do I look like Boo Boo the Fool to you? And Boo Boo like, man, what the fuck, man? Like, all right, did Pops have a bunch of sisters or some shit? Like, what the fuck, man? Like, why they keep bringing me into this? Like, discipline your kid, leave me out of it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I was kind of Kind of wondering about that. But that was the only random thought I had this week, man. There wasn't a whole lot of random thinking going on this week, man. I was busy getting to the money, man. Getting to the money. But yeah, man, let's just go ahead and get right into it, man. Let's get into the news. All right. Now, of course, you guys know the biggest story of the news this week has been Donald Trump contracting the goddamn coronavirus.
That'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
Yeah, man. So we get the story here. This comes out of the New York Times. It says President Trump revealed early Friday morning that he and the First Lady, Melania Trump, had tested positive for the coronavirus, throwing the nation's leadership into uncertainty and escalating the crisis posed by a pandemic that has already killed more than 207,000 Americans and devastated the economy. Mr. Trump, who for months has played down the seriousness of the virus, and hours earlier on Thursday night told an audience that the end of the pandemic is in sight, will quarantine in the White House for an unspecified period of time, forcing him to withdraw at least temporarily from the campaign trail only 32 days before the election on November 3rd. The dramatic disclosure came in a Twitter message just before 1 a.m. after a suspenseful evening following reports that Mr. Trump's close advisor, Hope Hicks, had tested positive. In her own tweet about 30 minutes later, Mrs. Trump wrote that the first couple were feeling good, but the White House did not say whether they were experiencing symptoms. The president's physician said he could carry out his duties without disruption from the executive mansion. Now, I got this story early when this kind of broke. There's been a lot of other news that's kind of come out since then. But so we know that this dude is in Walter Reed Hospital right now, getting some of the best care that money can buy. And meanwhile, he's trying to take your health care away from you. Make a note of that. Make motherfucking note of that. He's at Walter Reed Hospital, and there's conflicting reports about whether or not he's doing well, whether or not there should be some concerns about his health, like how dire this diagnosis is for someone like him who's overage. I mean, he's in the target audience as far as being like a senior citizen. They consider him obese. He's a person of color, and he's living in government housing. So you got a lot of those different things going on. Oh, and he's low income, because yeah. But so he's very at risk. He's very at risk when it comes to the coronavirus. And honestly, man, I'm hard to feel sorry for a motherfucker who tried to downplay this shit from the very beginning because he thought that's what it was going that was to his best interest politically. Hard to feel sorry for a motherfucker who was mocking Joe Biden during the debates because he wears a mask and is yo, I'm in the target motherfucking hotspot. Maybe I should be very, cautious as to how I move out here. Very hard to be feeling sorry for a motherfucker who just called this a Democratic hoax. This is their new hoax. Very, very hard to feel sorry for somebody who just weeks earlier was talking about this virus is affecting virtually no one. Very hard to feel sorry for somebody who's been holding rallies and having thousands of people meet them, and they think this is okay because they're outside. Never mind the fact that they packed right up against each other. They're talking to one another. They ain't wearing masks. They hugging one another. All of this shit. They just had a meeting at the White House in the Rose Garden where they were announcing the Supreme Court pick, or introducing her to the political elites or whatever for the Republican Party. And now we find out that some senators have contracted the coronavirus and they've tested positive for it. Kellyanne Conway has tested positive for it. Hope Hicks, which was they try to do the contact tracing, saying she was probably the first person. But here's the tripped out part. I'm not sure how accurate this reporting is, but as I've heard it so far, Donald Trump came to that debate the other night late, and they didn't test anybody. The whole Trump family came to that debate late, and they were given entrance because, for one, it's Trump is the fucking president, so they give him entrance, and they gave him they were on the honor system. Well, maybe he got tested, and I can understand why someone will believe that, because you're thinking, okay, here's the person who's supposed to be the most important VIP in the world, right? President of the United States, VIP. If anybody's gonna get around him, he's in this bubble. He's the most important person. We got to protect him, this, that, and the other. So we got to operate under the auspices of, hey man, everybody around this guy has been tested. He's been tested in order, so he should be good. But they came late and no one tested them at the Cleveland Clinic because they came late, and they gave them the honor system or whatever. Turns out this motherfucker was positive, his wife was positive, and all these motherfuckers walking in, and they sat down and didn't wear a mask the whole damn debate. Now, again, I'm just of the mindset that like I have, as we talked about, no room for ignorance and apathy and all that stuff when it comes to voting. I have absolutely no room for these hypocritical ass Republican motherfuckers who are asking for empathy and sympathy at this particular moment. Because goddamn it, I'm out of it. I'm out of it, yo. Like, for someone like me, like the last time, like I mentioned this before, like I saw my grandmother the last time around Christmas of 2019. My grandmother was in the hospital. That whole time I was in Chicago, she was in the hospital. She had pneumonia the entire time I was there, man. That was the last time I saw my grandmother alive. I didn't get a chance to see my grandmother for her birthday physically because of this coronavirus shit. And to have the person responsible for not taking this shit seriously being diagnosed with the shit that he wasn't taking seriously and got a whole legion of motherfuckers following him, not taking the shit seriously. I'm all out of fucks to give on that, man. I just am. We all know, like we can remember just this other, like not only it was affecting virtually nobody a couple weeks ago. Suddenly, like, we should all be like, well, we should pray for the president's well-being and his health. And, no one should like wish ill. And I'm not saying I wish ill upon him. I'm just saying I don't care. I don't care, man. Like, that's where I'm at with it. Like, and then that's in the chat room. And that says, if he really has it, he needs to drink some bleach. Yeah, think about that, man. He told people like, yo, get some bleach up in you. Go ahead and do that little disinfecting shit. He was real flippant about that, man. Even in the debate, Joe Biden was trying to tell him like, yo, man, like your own CDC director, your own fucking coronavirus task force is telling you what the precautions need to be in order to keep from contracting this virus. And he was basically like, yeah, man, well, they say something different too. Like, no serious person is saying this shit. Just you, man. Just you. And so, yeah, man, Donald Trump got the coronavirus. I remember like earlier this year, man, like when they would start talking about how they wanted the economy to open back up, man. And in Texas, like the governor of Texas, like it was a whole bunch of Republicans, man, who basically had this idea that like, yo, man, we're gonna lose some people. Some people gonna die. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, but for the good of the economy, we should look at them as patriots for sacrificing their lives for the good of the economy. And they would be good Americans to open this shit back up so we can get back to work and making this money and making y'all go back, like that sort of shit, that idea. Like suddenly it don't mean the same thing anymore. Right? Should we ask Donald Trump to be willing to sacrifice his life for the good of the economy? Like, are we supposed to do that? Right? Like, it's wild, man. Like to see that flip. Suddenly the people who can't wait to tell you they don't want to do nothing but own the libs, man, are asking them same people they've been talking cash shit about for the last 4 years. Like, man, you guys are really fucking mean, man. You guys are really fucking mean, man. The president of the United States is fucking sick, man. And you guys are just celebrating this shit. It's fucking bananas, man. It's not right, man. You guys should have more. You guys on the left, you call yourself so fucking tolerant, man, but you're very intolerant for the president right now. Like, man, fuck out of here, bro. Fuck out of here. Get them crocodile tears. Get them the fuck out of here. I ain't got time for this shit, man. All I know is, man, coronavirus been out here acting a goddamn fool for quite some time. Coronavirus don't give a fuck whether or not you Democrat, Republican, or whatever. Coronavirus just operates like this, man.
I kill everybody up in this motherfucker.
Coronavirus don't care, man. Coronavirus don't care. As a matter of fact, coronavirus right now is at the crib like,
got him. Got him.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But I got the homie Cliff. He wanted to join us here for the Spann Report tonight, man. Shout out to my boy Cliff, co-host of the Beer Chicken podcast. Looks like the motherfucker's grubbing right now. But what's going on with you, brother?
You got me over here dying laughing while I'm eating my my meal. Straight.
It's the fucking truth, man. I mean, God, what you want me to do? It's the fucking truth. I ain't told not one lie, bro. Everything I've said right now has been the truth. The truth. That's why comedians be so fucking funny. They don't do nothing but telling the truth. It's funny because it's true. It's funny because it's true, bro. That's what it is.
Here's what's funny. This dude said, if you drop a cigarette in the forest, it'll go up. That's funny. If you drive a 10-year-old car, you have a slug. Yo, I have never laughed so hard in my life from somebody who should be actually taking some shit very seriously. And that is really how he feels. Probably 70% of the United States has a car that's 10 years or older. And he just told everybody that they got a slug. They got a slug, fool. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, man. So this goes back to like some shit that me and you've talked about for a long time, privately or whatever. And I talk about this shit on the show quite a bit as well. Is that Donald Trump has convinced like a nation of motherfuckers that he cares about them when he's never shown any inkling at all that he gave a fuck about anybody other than himself. Never. Like he got a whole bunch of like, rural people who think Donald Trump is down for them. Donald Trump ain't never gave a fuck about nothing rural, man. Donald Trump, before he became president, was shitting in a golden fucking toilet, man. He got a penthouse in New York. He is the fucking elite that these people don't necessarily like. But he's convinced a whole half, but not even half, because I don't even believe it's half the nation. I think it might be 35% of the motherfucking nation that actually like is really true blue fucking Donald Trump support. He's convinced these people that shit. He has never shown us anything other than to love himself. That's it. That's it. So, like, when he gets on there and when he's in a debate and he's talking about, yo, you drive a 10-year-old car, when they're talking about climate change and shit, and talking about you driving a slug, he ain't never drove a 10-year-old car before. He don't give a fuck. He's had money his whole life. You know what I'm saying? Like, the dude up in front of some scientists, because there was some climate change scientists when we talked about the wildfires in California and shit. And they were telling him, like, yo, man, the science doesn't agree with you. This motherfucker told the experts the science don't know. I don't think the science knows. Like, certainly, nigga, you don't. Certainly, you don't. So it's just a thing. Like, yeah, man. Like,
did you see I don't know if you saw this. I saw this morning on CNN. The whole thing. Stand down and stand by, the whole Proud Boys, they found these leaders of the Proud Boys in Utah, hence Utah, and this leader of like this certain area of the Black Matters movement, this black woman, they had a sit down, and this guy with the Proud Boys said that they are not like a racist, white supremacist organization. And that they don't condone none of that shit. The crazy thing is they said that they have multiple ethnicities within their organization. That is not what they're about. And I was like,
yeah, that's bullshit. that's bullshit. The guy who created the group said something entirely motherfucking different.
Here's what they said about him. They said that he started it. No, they said he started it and they kicked him out. They said he is no longer with Proud Boys.
Sure, man. Sure.
That's what they said, man. That's what they said.
I'm playing in the NBA Finals this week, man. Like, fuck out of here, man. So that's the thing. Like, so truth, a lot of times, that like so many people, like, you can just get on the internet and just say shit. Like, do we even know that dude is even in the Proud Boys? Do we even know that person who claims to be a person in the Black Lives Matter movement part of that organization? Do we even know they have any sort of level of affiliation with that group? Like, anybody can get on this and say any goddamn thing, right? And they're in Utah, bro. Like, how many black people is it in Utah, really?
Three. Actually, three.
It's like Rachel Dolezal's all out in Washington. He had a whole motherfucker like everybody think that she was black. You know what I'm saying? Like it's easy to do that because there ain't a whole lot of black people around. You know what I'm saying? So like,
she's definitely black.
No, she ain't. But be that as it may, man, like I just thought that the idea that Donald Trump has coronavirus after playing this shit down for months, after telling people that it's not serious, after telling folks that it's a Democratic hoax, this is their new hoax, all of this shit. Like, how do you return? Like, how do you come back from that? Like, how do you come out? Okay, so all right, so that hoax I was telling y'all about, yeah. So here's what it is, right? So, shit was real. But you see, it ain't as bad as they say it is. Because if he survives, right? Because I believe that's what they would do. If he survives this shit, they will say it's not as bad as everybody's saying it is. Because look, nigga, I'm still here. But they forget the fact that Donald Trump is receiving the best motherfucking healthcare anybody on the planet will receive. And a lot of these people right now won't be receiving that same level of healthcare. At the same time, this motherfucker is trying to get rid of Obamacare that will allow people to get some level of healthcare that they wouldn't have gotten previously because of a pre-existing condition. So it's like, it's maddening, dude. This nigga, man.
Do you think so? I saw something else too. They said that he will be receiving some type of treatment that the public will get. And
as it stands right now, I think they said he was getting some level of experimental drugs that only like maybe 300 people are part of this study right now. He's getting the same level of treatment that those folks are getting. I don't know, but I'm of the mindset right now. Like, yo, man, whether he like kick it or not.
Don't start celebrating. Don't start celebrating.
No, I'm not celebrating. I'm saying I don't care.
Right.
That's why I don't give a fuck about that dude. I don't care.
I'll say this. I think honestly, this is his way to really sell the fact that whatever treatment that he's getting, everybody else will get, to side with him to get that vote. Seriously. If he comes out of this and he come out looking like, Superman and everything like that, people are going to be like, Donald Trump got it. He survived. We going to get what he getting.
I think this is what's going to happen. I think, like I said, if Donald Trump survived, yeah, he's going to try to sell it that way. But at the same time, the people who get treated the most won't get it because they don't have the health care or they won't have the ability to afford it. Right now, Donald Trump is a quote unquote self-made billionaire, but the best health care in the world that anybody in the world can get, he's getting it for free. He won't be charged for this health care. He's getting it for free. Meanwhile, they trying to take your motherfucking health care away from you. So, with all that being said, if he survives this, chances are they're going to try to spin this as a positive for him, and they're going to want people to forget the previous 6 months of downplaying this disease for the past half of the year. And on top of that, they're going to also try to make you forget that 207,000 people have already died because of this disease and because he didn't take the shit seriously to begin with.
Do you really think, and of course I know what you're going to say to a degree, do you actually think that this is a stunt?
No, I don't think it's a stunt at all.
You think he has it for real?
He got it. It's too many motherfuckers around him that do have it. That's the other part about it. Here's something that I said on Facebook, and I guess I should probably say this here too. Conspiracy theory. There's a lot of people out here that they're on a conspiracy tip, and I understand it, and I get it to some degree, especially with our community, because of our history with the healthcare system and everything. You go back to the Tuskegee experiments and whatnot. Black folks are real skeptical about a lot of shit, right? I get that, but sometimes shit is happening right in your motherfucking face. everything ain't always hidden.
Mm-hmm.
Some motherfuckers is telling you what they gonna do, and they got every intention on doing exactly what the fuck they told you they was gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the shit ain't no goddamn conspiracy. Sometimes that shit is gonna happen right in your face. I think this is one of those times where shit's happening right in our face. And too many people around Trump also have tested positive. Too many people within the Senate after that Rose Garden meeting with the Supreme Court nominee and shit have turned positive because of that shit. No, I don't believe he was faking it. I don't believe going to Walter Reed was part of some grand hoax in order to like get people to get. No, I think he really got it. Because what is who's the sympathy vote? Who's the sympathy vote? Other than the people who already fuck with him. I'm dead ass asking. Other than the people who already fuck with him, who's the sympathy vote? Because I doubt very seriously that anybody who's like, you know what, I wasn't really fucking with that Donald Trump, but he got the goddamn COVID, and you know what? I think I might fuck with him now.
I don't think it's the sympathy vote, bro. I think what it is how he comes out of it, and then he can then sell that process and what he has been pushing for the past month and a half as far as having a vaccine. That is what people are afraid of COVID. So right now, if he when he comes out, I don't want to put no negative on nobody, but when he comes out of this, that is his angle. The fact that the process that he went through, oh, well, that's what every hospital in the United States is going to be able to offer, yada, 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 yada. But of course, that's not true because, like you said, he's getting A++, care and medication but that is how he'll place it. And there's some people who are going to eat that up. And I'm not saying that there's some people who can be like, oh, you on some BS. But honestly, I get that a lot of people in the Senate, a lot of people, they had a guy who was on Air Force One for the past like 4 months. He just got fired a week ago, coincidentally. And he said that if you were on Air Force One or in the White House with a mask on, you got asked to either take that mask off or to leave. And that's it.
So check this out. And this is why this is the other part about this. Like, I know the big news is that Donald Trump has the coronavirus, and all of like these big names, these senators, he's fucking like even the Supreme Court nominee said that she had coronavirus, like she had COVID, and she got over it. Like she said she beat it or whatever. Like she also could have possibly spread that shit to other people, right?
Yeah.
The people who said they had the shit, they like mingling this shit, no mask on, they touching and they all hugging and all this other shit. No, this shit. The people that I somewhat feel sorry for, only like in the sense that like if you're there because this is just your job, are like the people like the staff people at the White House who have to be around these motherfuckers. No choice to their own other than the fact that this is their job. And nobody knows their name. And they may have gotten sick with the COVID-19 or coronavirus or whatever. And nobody will know their name. But because of the recklessness of this administration and the people at the top, they may have gotten a disease that could possibly kill them or possibly put the health of their family members at risk because of negligence of the people at the top, and they have to be there because that's their fucking job. Those are the people I feel sorry for. The political appointees, the people who choose to be around this motherfucker because, this is the president or whatever, and I'm trying to be on the Trump train, this, that, and other. Fuck them too. I don't care because you promoted this messaging too. So the people who had to be at that White House, the people who work there, the people who are nameless and faceless, who we will never really know, who possibly have been exposed to this shit, I feel sorry for them. And then the administration do that shit. That's how I feel about it.
I mean, you got a point. And you know what? I feel bad for the young lady who they said initially had it, because it's no way you can trace that like that. And the guy who was on the media team or whatever you want to call him, he said, on Air Force One, it's like 50 people on board. And if everybody just blowing all over the damn place, you don't know where it started, And he even said that initially the Secret Service had masks Trump said, you cannot wear that with me.
Mhm.
You know, I feel I do have a lot of sympathy for the people, like you said, who are just trying to put food on the table. Like, for real, that I get that. You still have a choice, you know, because you either gonna put food on this table or you're gonna like just say, hey, you know, I don't want to, you know, chance it. But it's screwed up, man. And you know, on level 1 million, and I know this is all politics. Look at Cam Newton; they just canceled the whole game because of him.
Now, this isn't beer and chicken.
I know.
But hold on. I already said that I don't even think the NFL should even be playing.
We said that at the beginning.
I haven't watched the game yet. Been playing fantasy football 2-1. Ain't watched the game. Right? Ain't watched the game. However, I've always had reservations as to whether or not they should even be playing the game. And so for Cam Newton to have COVID, I hate about he got the COVID, but also I'm not surprised, and I wouldn't be surprised if more cases start popping up in the NFL because they didn't do the same thing that the NBA did, which was like quarantine everybody, put them in a bubble, and make them play football. Like they've allowed, they've just they out here amongst the rest of us. You know, so like this idea that like, you know, it's a lot of recklessness going on, man. I know people want to get back to like some level of normalcy, back to before when the coronavirus was here. But we've never done the things necessary to lock down this country in the way in which we should, so that we could get a handle on this. And then in a way that most of the world is doing now. Like a lot of the developed world, they already like they kind of passed it. They got control of their coronavirus and shit. They got very minimal cases. And when they do get a couple cases, they're like, all right, fuck it, shut it down. We ain't bullshit. And then they shut it down for a minute, they get control of it, and then they open everything back up the right way. We've never done that here. We've never done it. And that shit comes from the top. It comes from the top. So yeah, and chat, she said, thanks, Mr. President, for all the tales you spun. The sheeple that you won, the way your near COVID's healed. These murders by the sun. Thank you so much. Shout out to Lola J, man.
Look, man. Well, look, I appreciate you letting me in, man, and let me say something that I've been wanting to say on this show for the longest, which it says on your shirt.
There it is.
Can you send me the link? I'm gonna do my Trump fingers. Can you you send me the link for that shirt, bro? Like for real, where you get that from?
I'll see if I can find it, man, because it's been a while. I bought this about 2 years ago, so it's been a while. Yes, sir. 2 years ago. This shirt is old.
Do you wear that on the street?
Yes, sir.
Oh God, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
That is what's up, man. Finish watching, man. Enjoy, man. Appreciate you, man.
For sure. All right, y'all. Yeah, man. Shout out to homeboy Cliff, man, for joining us here at the Spann Report podcast, man. Y'all can hear the homie Cliff when we doing beer and chicken, man. Real talk. But yo, that is in the news, man. Donald Trump got the goddamn coronavirus. Ain't that some shit? Another story that we got here in the news is not only does Donald Trump have the coronavirus, but we've been talking about voter suppression. And we've been talking about voter suppression as it ascertains to black people in the 2016 election. Not only the 2016 election, but the election coming forward with the 2020 election. We got news from Channel 4, the Channel 4 News division over in the UK, that the Donald Trump campaign used social media disinformation to target black voters to get them not to fucking vote. All right, let me pull up this story here. Like I said, this comes out of Channel 4 out of the UK. And yeah, let's see what they're talking about here. It says Channel 4 News has exclusively obtained a vast cache of data used by Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign on almost 200 million American voters. It reveals that 3.5 million Black Americans were categorized by Donald Trump's campaign as deterrents. Voters they wanted to stay at home on election day. Tonight, civil rights campaigners said the evidence amounted to a new form of voter suppression and called on Facebook to disclose ads and targeted information that has never been made public. The Deterrence Project can be revealed after Channel 4 News obtained the database used by Trump's digital campaign team, credited with helping deliver his shock victory to become president 4 years ago. Vast in scale, it contains details on almost 200 million Americans among more than 5,000 files, which together amass almost 5 terabytes of data, making it one of the biggest leaks in history. It reveals not only the huge amounts of data held on every individual voter, but how that data was used and manipulated by models and algorithms. In 16 key battleground states, millions of Americans were separated by an algorithm into one of 8 categories as described as audiences, so they could then be targeted with tailored ads on Facebook and other platforms. One of the categories was named deterrence, which was later described publicly by Trump's chief data scientist as containing people that the campaign hope don't show up to vote. Analysis by Channel 4 News shows Black Americans, historically a community targeted with voter suppression tactics, were disproportionately marked deterrence by the 2016 campaign. In total, 3.5 million Black Americans were marked deterrence. In Georgia, despite Black people constituting 32% of the population, excuse me, they made up 61% of the deterrence category. In North Carolina, Black people are 22% of the population, but were 46% of deterrence. In Wisconsin, Black people constitute just 5.4% of the population, but made up 17% of deterrence. The disproportionate categorizing of Black Americans for deterrence is seen across the U.S. Overall, people of color labeled as Black, Hispanic, Asian, or other groups made up 54% of the deterrence category. In contrast, other categories of voters the campaign wished to attract were overwhelmingly white. The 2016 campaign preceded the first fall in the Black turnout in 20 years and allowed Donald Trump to take shock victories in key states like Wisconsin and Michigan by wafer-thin margins, reaching the White House despite losing the popular vote to Hillary Clinton. Trump's daily campaign, called Project Alamo and based in San Antonio, Texas, involved a team from the now defunct British company Cambridge Analytica, working with a team from the Republican National Committee. 2 senior members of the Cambridge Analytica team were working on the Trump 2020 campaign. So, I know, like the last couple weeks, I've been talking about the comments made by people such as like Ice Cube and Killer Mike and Chris Rock and things like that. And one of the biggest things that I've always thought was interesting was how they are talking about they want we want to get something for our vote, this, that, and the other. And it sounds great. It sounds great if you didn't know the tactics that were already being used in order to keep us from getting to our vote, right? And so the fact that the Trump administration not only has been using targeted ads and social media in order to get Black people to not vote, it's why I'm so adamant about us actually going to the polls and letting our voices be heard, because they don't want us to do it, right? So when Ice Cube comes up talking about like, yo, we need to get something for our vote, and it's like, yo, man, we down to the last 2 candidates. You had all this time in order to do that, and yet you chose now to make this concern, to voice this concern, and then on top of that, to dismiss all of the work that has been done prior to you showing up to this fight. Like, yeah, I've had a problem with that. And not only that, just knowing the fact that the Republican Party, the Republicans, and Donald Trump in particular, has been targeting Black voters to get us not to go to the polls, to get us not to go to the polls. Every time I hear a nigga sit up here and talk about how it's 2 sides of the same coin, it's the lesser of 2 evils. No matter who I vote for, they gonna both be the same. Nothing in the last 4 years could have shown you otherwise. Nothing in these last 4 years could have shown you otherwise. So, like, this idea that there's no such thing as voter suppression, and we need to get something for our vote, or we've never gotten anything for our vote, or ain't nobody ever killed nobody for voting, this and the other, is 1, ahistorical, and 2, is bullshit. 3, is part of what they don't want you to do in the first fucking place. They don't want you to be there. They hope you don't show up. This is the entire fucking plan, man. The entire plan. Here's the other part that's so tripped out about the social media aspect is because we are all on the social media. Like, they can target certain things to you, right? You ever like, and people talk about this kind of shit all the time. Like, yo, man, I was sitting up here talking about some Air Force Ones, nigga, and suddenly Air Force One showed up on my Facebook feed, nigga. I didn't say I want to buy them motherfuckers. I was just kind of talking about them, and suddenly they was there, right? They know so much about what you like and what you don't like. They know so much about what triggers you and what doesn't. And they also know what will keep your ass engaged, whether that be negative or positive. And if you are stimulated by negative stimuli, if that keeps you arguing with a nigga on Facebook back and forth, they gonna shoot you more of that shit. As a matter of fact, this person that you say you can't stand, but you can't stop talking to, they gonna shoot you shit all the time with the shit that they saying. Shoot it to you all the time. The algorithms are there for them to do it, right? And so if you decide that, if you decide that, like, yo, I'm gonna go down this rabbit hole, because people go down these rabbit holes, they get in these silos and shit. Like, you know what? All of this is a scam, man. Like, this is some bullshit, man. The Republicans, the Democrats, they all the same, right? And you put some shit like that in the atmosphere, and then you get around some other motherfuckers who put that same sort of shit in the atmosphere. Suddenly, you are in constant this bubble. All of the same motherfuckers who believe the same shit, and they pass it on the same bogus information, and you can just get this feedback loop of the same bullshit over and over and over and over again. And they use that information knowing that, like, okay, this person here might be on the bubble right now. We might be able to deter him from taking their ass to the poll. This person right here, they out of reach, man. They on to our shit. They're not gonna talk to us. Like, they're not even engaging with us. So we might as well leave us alone. But for those of you who are susceptible to that low information, for those of you who believe that your vote don't count, for those of you who believe that they're two sides of the same coin, they both the same shit, they on your ass, man. And they trying to get you to disengage. And a lot of you are doing it for them for free, man. For free. And so, like, the Trump administration was found out. I mean, for any of you who, first, there's a couple things I need you guys to watch. This is a documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma, which kind of talks about how not only just Facebook, but like Twitter and Snapchat and all these other different social media applications, how they use those algorithms to kind of feed you and steer you in certain directions, because they want you to stay engaged with the site. They want you to stay engaged with the app. And so they know how to feed you information that'll keep you there, right? I want you guys to watch that. There's another Netflix documentary that you guys need to watch when it comes to the level of political influence that goes into the ads that you see on sites like a Facebook. Is called The Great Hack. And they talk about a company that was based in the UK. They mentioned it in this article called Cambridge Analytica. I want you guys to go and check those two documentaries out. And once you check those two documentaries out, come back to your boy and holler at me, because there's a lot of information there, right there. Put it out in your face. Everything in the conspiracy is right there. The information is out in the open, yo. And after you've gone over to those documentaries, you've taken a look at those documentaries, and you come back and holler at your man, and we can have a conversation. But yo, man, I implore everybody to go vote. I don't want you to like do this shit for these people for free. They are targeting Black people to get you not to be engaged in the process. They are targeting you. And I don't want you to do that for them. I don't want you to give them that for nothing. They are targeting you to get you to not be involved in this process. There's too much on the fucking line right now for you not to be engaged in this process. I implore you for this, man. For real. That's in the news. Another thing that's in the news as we talk about voter suppression, the Texas governor, Greg Abbott, has just decided that he's going to unilaterally tell every county in the state of Texas that they can only have one drop-off place for absentee ballots throughout the whole state. right, we get this story here. This comes out of theguardian.com. It says that Texas is already one of the hardest places in America to vote, and Greg Abbott, the Texas governor, on Thursday made it even harder. The announcement from Abbott, a Republican, limits an executive order from July that made it modestly easier for voters to return their ballots during the pandemic. Texas usually only lets voters return their mail-in ballots in person on election day, but Abbott's July order said voters could return their ballots in person on to the election clerk's office earlier. He also extended early voting by 6 days. As a result, some of the biggest counties in the state had planned to offer voters multiple places to drop off places could drop off their votes. Okay. Harris County, the most populous in the state, planned to let voters return their ballots at 11 of the clerk's annex offices around the county. Travis County, home of Austin, planned to offer 4 places to return their ballots. But the move drew backlash within his own party. Republicans sued the governor over the changes. Now, why would they sue the governor over the fact that more people had access to the ballot? Why would they do that? Why would the Republican Party sue the governor over the fact that the access to the ballot was being made more free for those who were eligible to vote? Right? It said on Thursday, Abbott backtracked on his earlier order and issued a new executive order only allowing counties to offer voters a single place to return their ballots. Abbott's order also said officials had to let official poll watchers inspect the process. Abbott's order quickly drew outcry and accusations of voter suppression. Texas already severely limits mail-in voting to those who are 65 and older or who meet a select few other requirements. The state has aggressively opposed a slew of lawsuits seeking to ease those restrictions amid the pandemic. Texas has seen massive growth among Hispanic and other minority voters in recent years, and many of the restrictions in place are seen as a blatant effort to preserve white political power. They're doing it right in your face, man. It's happening right in your face. There's no other way to put it. Why, if it wasn't so important, I keep asking this question every time I'm on this mic and we're talking about this issue. If it weren't so important, why are they trying so hard to keep you from doing it? Why? What do they get out of that other than to preserve power for themselves and to disenfranchise you? Right? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But that's been our news, y'all. But y'all know what time it is.
What in blue blazes is going on out here? Did this nigga just say blue blazes?
All right, man. We've been talking about some heavy shit. I'll admit it's been heavy this first like 45 minutes of the show. But we got some lighter shit, I guess what I could say. Here in Blue Blazes, man. Our first story here in Blue Blazes is yo, man, is that Subway sandwich bread that you eating? Is that shit even like really bread at all? We get the story here. This comes out of the NewYorkPost.com. It says a court rules that Subway sandwiches are too sugary to meet the legal definition of bread. It says Ireland's highest court isn't sweet on tax breaks for footlongs. The country's Supreme Court ruled that the starch used in Subway sandwiches is too sugary to meet the definition of bread, and a legal distinction that would have saved the firm some dough. In deciding whether to give the fast food chain a tax break for serving a staple food item, the 5-judge panel ruled that the bread's sugar to flour content is roughly 5 times too high to qualify, according to the Irish Independent. For a company to be taxed 0% under the Value Added Tax Act of 1972, the weight of sugar and fat in bread in a bread product must not be more than 2% of the total weight of flour in the dough. But the dough baked for Subway sandwiches has the sugar content of roughly 10% the weight of its flour content. In its decision, the court rejected arguments by a Subway franchise owner, Bookfinders in Galway, that the restaurant was not required to meet the standard on to-go items such as heated sandwiches, teas, and coffees. Bookfinders had demanded a refund for past year's taxes in an appeal of the 2006 case. While shooting down a legal challenge, Justice Donald O'Donnell said the definition of bread was established to distinguish the starch from other baked goods such as cookies or brownies that aren't healthy enough to be considered essential. All 6 of the company's bread options, Italian white bread, Italian herb and cheese, 9-grain wheat, hearty Italian, 9-grain multi-seed, and honey oat, were deemed too sugary by the court to qualify as bread. Now, you know what? Here's the thing. I ain't never really been a Subway fan, man. Like Subway had one sandwich that I fuck with, and a lot of the franchises, like, they stopped serving the seafood sensation or whatever. I used to fuck with that sandwich, man. I used to fuck with that sandwich heavy, and they stopped serving it. But like Subway has gotten off for years touting itself as like this healthy alternative to some of the other things that you could eat, right? Like going to McDonald's or going to Wendy's or some shit like that, it may be slightly better than it, but not by a whole lot, man. And they've gotten out, like, they had Jared on there with the weight loss, campaign and everything. I just never really been a fan of the Subway sandwiches, man. When it comes to subs, when it comes to sandwiches, I'm more of not Subway. I'm more of a Potbelly's guy myself. You know what I'm saying? Potbelly sandwiches go hard, get you a wreck or an Italian, and when we in there, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, Subway is they bread ain't really bread according to the Ireland Supreme Court, man. Well, if it ain't bread, then what the fuck are you eating, man? What the fuck are you eating? So yeah, man. Subway sandwiches, bread ain't really bread. That's in Blue Blazes, man. Another story that we got here in Blue Blazes is math ain't everybody's subject. You know what I'm saying? Like even with your man Spann, man, like algebra, I can never really fuck with the algebra. It was never really my thing, man. Math was not my jam when I was coming up. But my math was never really this bad. Never this bad. But so Lil Scrappy of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta fame has 3 children. I believe his oldest daughter is 15. He's got 2 children by his current wife, Bambi. I believe one of those kids is like 2. Another one might be like 6 months or something like that. And apparently, Lil Scrappy believes that he's been a father now for 18 years. What? I said Lil Scrappy believes he's been a father now for 18 years. What? You heard me. Okay. So we're going to read the story here. This comes out of the AtlantaBlackStar.com. It says Lil Scrappy and his wife Bambi had an interesting and entertaining conversation on Instagram last week. The father of 3 argued that he's been a father for 18 years, although his eldest child and daughter, Imani Richardson, is only 15 years old.
And that'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
The most intriguing part about his answer was the logic behind it. He said, Imani gonna be 16 in March, so that means, before Scrappy could even finish his thought on camera, Bambi yelled, so that means you've been a parent for 16 years. Apparently, Bambi knows the math, right? Bambi knows the math. Scrappy ain't really wrapped his mind around the math, all right? Actually, this is more of a...
Dum-dum did it.
Yeah, it's more one of those. He said, I've been a parent for 18 years and a month and a half because Bree is 2 years old and Zylo is a month and a half. Oh, man.
Delete all that shit. Delete all that shit. Let's play with you, piggy.
Yeah, man. You need to just go ahead and delete that whole post, bro. Let's go ahead and delete that whole post. I've been a parent 18 years and a month and a half. Scrappy explained in the September 24 video, Imani is finna be 16 and watch. It's already added. Bambi responded, no, you can't add that. That's not right. For those who didn't understand the Love and Hip Hop Atlanta Star logic in the video, he broke it down for them in text. I need to know. Please tell me what y'all think. For real, asked the Atlanta native. I don't play by my parenting, Jack. He don't play by his parenting, but apparently he played by that math. All in the back. Let's bet 16 plus 2 plus a half. Folks weren't too sure how Scrappy came up with these numbers, but they had their red markers out to correct his math. That's wrong, cuz one person said. That means I've been a parent for 19 plus 16 plus 12 years, 58 years. I'm only 37. Listen, man. I don't know what's like how far along Scrappy went in like high school or whether or not Scrappy went to college or whatever. I'm not sure what his grades was or whatever, but yeah, man, that's got to be embarrassing for the kids, man. Especially like if your daughter is like 16 and she old enough to like put this math together, and her daddy is on social media talking about, I've been a daddy for 18 years. Like, no, nigga, I'm only 16. But yeah, but if you add your little sister, she 2, and then your little brother, and he's 6 months. Then yeah, that's half. Yeah, that's 18 and a half. Like, no, daddy. Like, for as long as I've been alive, you've been a daddy. That's it. You don't get to add these other. You don't get to add this other shit. For as long as I've been alive, you've been pops, and that's how long you gonna go. For as long as I've been alive, that's it. Oh man, but you know, man. That's in Blue Blazers, man. Scrappy don't know his math, man. That's crazy. Another story that we got here in Blue Blazers is Lisa Ray, man. So Lisa Ray is in Blue Blazers, and the reason why is because she recently had a birthday. And for those of you who aren't aware, Lisa Ray and the rapper The Brat are sisters. I believe they share the same father. They're both from Chicago. And Lisa Ray and The Brat apparently haven't been like speaking for like some time. And The Brat showed up on Lisa Ray's show on Fox Soul called Cocktails with Queens. And I believe she co-hosts this show with what's her name? Claudia Jordan. Also Selena Johnson. There's a few different ladies on this show, and they surprised Lisa Ray with an appearance by The Brat on this particular show. And Lisa Ray went the fuck in on her sister on this show. And so I'm gonna pull this video up. So because I got a question for you guys after we talk about we do this here. But I got a question for you guys as to whether or not. Well, I'll just pull this video up so you guys can watch, and then we'll talk about that question I got for you in a second. But let's do this here. All right, here we go. Let's see what she's talking about. Now,
we got surprises for you today. Joining us to help celebrate your special day is platinum-selling, chart-topping hip-hop artist who's also the first female rapper to sell 1 million copies of her debut album. Please welcome one of the smoothest female MCs of the 90s, Lisa Ray's sister, The Brat.
Yeah, Chi-Town.
What's up?
Turn this out.
Surprise, Lisa Ray. Look at
Gotcha. Hi.
You all right? Happy birthday. That's your sister.
Happy birthday.
Wait, Brat, can you turn so we can see you better?
They told me to turn it the other way.
That's the right way now.
Okay. They told me turn it sideways. I don't know what to do.
Damn it. Thank you for joining us. She's speechless for one.
The way you want me to turn it, happy birthday, punk.
That woman is in her feelings right now. Like it's apparent. Like everybody like laughing and joking and giggling. This lady is like on the brink of tears as this is happening.
Oh, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. It's your birthday. Lisa Ray, girl. It's your birthday. Hey. Get it. Come on, Diamond. Hey, it's your birthday. Come on, girl. Lisa Ray, you surprised a little bit? The little something.
I'm shocked. Oh.
We got to hear from you, Lisa Ray. How you feeling?
Don't do it.
Man, she about to like.
That's love, y'all. That's love right there. Because see, let me tell you something about family. When good family come through, it's like that ugly cry. You know what I mean? You don't care. It just touches you deeply. You know what I'm saying? You be like, oh, Lord, I love you so much. You're my family. So that's love right there. Them sisters. She wanted to surprise you. We honestly thought you had saw her because we were trying to slide in real quick. But you didn't, obviously. Brat, what do you have to say for Lisa Ray? Are you surprised that she's having this reaction or?
No, I'm not surprised. We kind of been a little bit distant or whatever, so I know she's really surprised because yeah, we've had a little space in our relationship or whatever, but from nothing bad. But I just was going through a bunch of stuff, and I didn't want to worry nobody. And then I have a whole new significant other situation, and I was kind of scared to talk to her about it. I don't know, so
Man,
yeah,
she like
I
balling
haven't
right now,
seen
though,
her or
like-
talked to her in a long time, but we text from time to time and stuff, but I haven't seen her since COVID for real and before that. So this was great for me. And Punk, you know how much I love you. You know how much you mean to me. Since I was a child, you always been there. You always gave me good advice. Even when you used to whoop me when I was younger, I'll never forget those days. And embarrassed me when I had dance rehearsal and snatched me up out of there. Yeah.
DeBrat, you called her Punk? Where you get that nickname from?
I'm Lil Punk, she Big Punk. We've always called each other that since kids.
Oh.
Right. Since Lisa Ray is clearly, she's emotional, she can't really talk.
Yes.
Right. Can you just tell us like one of your most fondest memories of Lisa?
Yeah, let's not. Let's get to the shit. I'm sorry.
Because I didn't hear it from you.
Okay, so this is where it's
That
like
the space
know that you
the big sister. But some
okay, so this is really what we were trying to get to. So Lisa Ray is responding to her sister showing up on this show, Cocktails with Queens on Fox Soul. And they hadn't spoke for quite some time. Lisa Ray finally said something because she's been sitting here the whole time, like kind of crying, bawling and shit. She wasn't really expecting this surprise from her sister. So now she's finally like just going to, say her side of this. So let's see what she got to say.
sometimes as a little sister, you'd be like, I'm grown too, and I don't think she's ever accepted the fact that accepted the fact that I've grown up. Like, but it's not cool and it's my fault that the space
want to know that you're happy.
I am.
And I just did not want to just hear it from the blogs and from the interviews of people asking me questions, and I didn't know what to say because I didn't hear it from you, and I got to see it someplace else. And so I'm hurt. That's what I am.
It's all love though, Mama. Y'all can talk about it, now. It's all good. But I think that y'all should pick up the phone and holler at each other. Don't let no more time pass.
Do that for months.
Okay, well, baby, try again.
You know what? I think y'all need.
I'm in the waiting zone. So I'll wait. I'm cool.
See, that's what I'm talking about right there.
It's all good, girl. You know her.
What's that?
Stubborn. Y'all talk.
What's that?
You're not in like the waiting zone. Don't do that.
Why I'm not?
Oh, don't ruin your birthday, El Ray. Come on.
No, because everything else is playing out. You know what I mean? Via Instagram, via blogs, via all of that. Because what I'm finding out is all through that way. I'm not finding out nothing and shit personally. So I guess my place is not what I thought it was.
That's not true. That's not true.
Well, Lisa Ray, I think that, just putting my 2 cents in, because y'all family, so y'all know what time it is in real life. But, for Brat to come on here is a step to say, I love you. This is my way of coming, to you without, being in a predicament where you have to go back and forth and argue with her. She may want to be able to communicate with you, and this may have been a good way to kind of break the ice before she can do that, alone.
Lisa Ray looking like so, whatever, bitch. I ain't trying to hear nothing you saying.
You
that's the entire look on her face right now.
Sometimes, so this is what she's saying.
So, in other words, she's saying your sister handing you an olive branch.
Right.
You know what I mean? Your sister handing you an olive branch.
No, she ain't.
There we go.
She not trying to hear that. She
will. But that's what DeBrat. That's what we're here for as women, to help her hear it. Because I know you, and it's good to see you happy.
Absolutely.
And sometimes when people are in love, Lisa Ray, you don't want to tell your family because your family gonna be too opinionated
I wish that
about
I
shit.
can have a say in that myself. I wish that I knew what was going on, but I don't. And so then I sit and I wait.
You know what? When you're so,
I will say this: I am happy for you.
Good.
I am glad that you are living in your truth. That right there, we've been talking about for years, and for you to just be so happy and so vibrant, that right there is a blessing to be able to stand in that. That right there is what I believe in. That's what I talk about. That's what I envision. And so for that right there, I will say, have at it. And I love you. Like,
Yes.
I appreciate you coming out and verbally saying happy birthday to me this kind of way, because I damn sure ain't heard from you in months.
Damn,
Okay,
man.
so
you guys are both celebrities, and a lot of
check
times.
this out. Check this out. It's a lot going on there. But I'll say this, man. I got this question for you guys here in the chat room, and for those of you who may listen to this later. Do you think it's ever appropriate to hash out family business on the web? Right? Like on social media, through the blogs, through YouTube videos, whatever. Do you think it's ever appropriate for people to hash out their family issues on the web? And truthfully speaking, I got mixed feelings about it, right? Because I've done that, right? I can remember being this happened maybe, I want to say damn near 10 years ago. I can remember airing my father out on social media. I made a couple of videos that were on YouTube. And it happened right after I had a conversation with him on the phone, and it wasn't a good conversation. As a matter of fact, the nigga hung up on me. And I decided to go on YouTube to pretty much just say everything I wanted to say to him on the phone that I wasn't allowed to because he hung up. I said everything else that I wanted to say on the YouTube video. Now, my father at the time, my father was a singer. And I knew that I knew at the time that by me putting that on YouTube, that for one, he couldn't ignore it. And that two, he would hear what I had to say. That was 10 years ago. Fast forward to now, I don't know if I would have done the same thing. And so I'm wondering whether or not, like Lisa Ray and the Brat, more so Lisa Ray, right? I'm wondering if she's having any regrets about airing out some family business on the internet, right? Because, you know, of course, this goes out to everybody. It's going to be on the blogs. It's going to be on your television show. It's going to be on YouTube and everything else. And it's going to be on, like right now, the Spann Report for people to kind of talk about and pontificate about it, right? But I kind of wonder, like, what's the consensus on that? Like, airing out family business on social media. And sometimes, like, I see sometimes, like, on Facebook, I'm friends with folks on Facebook, people I've known for years, and you'll see some family shit come up on the timeline. You're like, oh, man, I wish I would just get on the phone and holler at each other about this shit. Like, this ain't none of our business. And truthfully speaking, a lot of people who are watching this shit on Facebook are watching it and they laughing at the both of y'all. They don't give a fuck about how y'all feeling about anything. They just watching it for the entertainment of it all. And like I said, like that whole thing with my father, like I can't, like, to some degree, I kind of wish I hadn't done it, but it got some of the results that I wanted. Like, I finally was able to, like, talk to my sisters that I had never met. I was, like, made aware of them and shit. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, yo, man, I wish there had been another way that could have happened, to where other people who weren't necessarily privy to the family shit, who would still not be privy to the family shit, right? And so for the Brat and Lisa Ray to be going through this on, you know, a television show, I'm not sure. I think Fox Soul is like a streaming service. I'm not sure if it's like on any TV, like it's a TV channel or anything else. I think it's like a streaming thing that they got with YouTube or whatever. But yeah, man, I just kind of wonder about that, like how people receive this sort of information, whether or not it's something that everybody should be privy to, right? Like, yo, the Brat and Lisa Ray, they got issues within their relationship. Truthfully speaking, I don't know if that's any of our business. I really kind of believe that Lisa Ray should have came into that situation like, I'm surprised that my sister is here. Thank you, sis, for the, you know, the happy birthdays or whatever. I can't wait to see you. Yada yada yada. You know, keep it cute for the TV. Keep it cute for the, like, you know, for the blogs or whatever else, because it ain't their business. But then get on the phone like, hey man, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Like, because I haven't heard from you in months or whatever. Like, why am I the last motherfucker to find out that you got engaged, just that and the what? Why am I the last person? Why I got to find out with everybody else? Because I've gotten those phone calls too from family. Why I got to find out with everybody else, right? Because like I can also admit to being like that person who I'll get on social media and I feel like social media is like the most efficient way to get at people. Like if I put this out right here, right now, everybody getting, I ain't got to keep making a whole bunch of phone calls, right? But then you got some old school family who gonna be like, man, what the fuck, man, nigga, I ain't on no motherfucking Facebook, nigga. Why I got to find out because some such and such was on Facebook and they telling me, nigga, why I got to find out that way? You know, some people take offense to that sort of shit. So you got to be mindful of who those people are and whatnot in your life, right? But the question I got for you, you know, for you guys in the chat room is whether or not it's ever okay for family business to be aired out on social media. And Annette is in the chat room right now, and she's like, nah. Nah, that's some bullshit. Nah, that is never okay. She's also said, I think Lisa was doing too much, but I do understand how she feels. Now, the other part about this that I think is interesting is that, like, she talked about finding out that the Brat was engaged to a woman and that she hoped that she's happy and all these other things, right? And I'm not sure what the Brat's sexuality is. I believe she maybe she's bisexual, because I believe she had at one point in time talked about her having a relationship with Allen Iverson. So maybe she's bisexual, whatever. It's none of my business, right? But I can also remember not even like 2 weeks ago, if it's been that long, that Lisa Ray was one of the, like, I get the feeling that Lisa Ray might not necessarily be the most understanding when it comes to the LGBTQ thing, right? Now, I'm speaking ignorantly in the fact that I'm only talking about what I've seen her present publicly. But I'm only, and this is just me speculating, but I kind of wonder whether the reason she hadn't heard from her sister as it pertains to the engagement, as it pertains to her being bisexual, as it pertains to her moving forward in this life, is because Lisa Ray may not have necessarily been as accepting of it privately as she is right now publicly on this particular platform. And the reason why I say that, is because it was not just like a couple weeks ago where Lisa Ray was on this exact same show talking about Andrew Gillum, and they were talking, and she was talking about bisexual men needing to be outed, and that there's a way for you to figure out whether or not your man is gay. Like, men don't have the option of being bisexual, right? Like, this is the idea that a lot of, like, you know, a lot of folks tend to hold this idea that, like, men don't have the option of being bisexual. If you are attracted to a man, you are gay, and that is it, right? There's a lot of people who roll with that line of thinking. And so they talked about this on this exact same show, Cocktails with Queens. Let me go ahead and pull this up so you guys can watch right along with your mans. And let's see what they're talking about here, man. Because she said this.
Ladies, let's switch gears real quickly. Someone who I'm a huge fan of, I supported, I campaigned with him, and I was so disappointed when he did not win. He was in the governor's race for Florida. I'm talking about our guy Andrew Gillum, and there was reports that he was on a short list of if Elizabeth Warren would have got the nomination, the Democratic nomination, that Andrew Gillum was on her short list of potential vice presidential candidates. Andrew Gillum, the good-looking brother from Florida, married, family man. Remember, he was caught in the hotel room with some meth. There was some male escorts, some dirty sheets. And I hate to even talk about this because I'm a supporter. Well, he finally came out and said that he's not gay, but he's bisexual. So
he did come out.
Yeah, it came out.
Yeah,
today.
he did an interview the other day with Cameron Manning, right?
Cameron Hall.
I'm sorry.
You know what?
I'm sorry.
That's so unfortunate. I mean, because when you get busted, and then you just forced to come on out with it. And it's almost like he could have pleaded the fifth still and said, look, this is still my personal life. This is my business. I don't want to say anything. But then we still would have looked at him sideways. So now he got to come on out and say, well, you know what? I ain't completely gay. I'm just bi.
Well, Lisa Ray, can I tell you?
Like, even in this moment, it's a joke to him. Like, even in this moment right now, it's like, I'm not completely gay. I'm just bi. Like, that's a joke to these ladies right now. Like, she's laughing about the shit as she's saying it.
It is the world that we are living in. People are fluid. They are not afraid to love who they might want to that night, baby. I'm serious.
I want them to. I want them to.
I got a problem with it. Let me just keep that real because I'm strictly dickly over here. And
yeah,
you know what I mean? And I don't appreciate when you be thinking somebody is over here and then you come to find out they're on both sides. It's just a new day.
They gotta be outed. They gotta be busted. And it's almost like,
but okay, is that a conversation that you have with a person where you kind of go, okay, let's just keep it real. Have you ever had a bisexual experience?
You can tell that yourself because if you use your finger a little bit, you know what I mean? They can tell you if you get a little resistance, then
ladies,
ain't no going back there.
Have y'all ever? I mean, we're gonna get back on Andrew in a second. Have y'all ever dated a man that you believe was straight and then you found out later on he was bisexual or you had your feelings about it?
I have.
And I still, he's still a suspect. Like, it ain't came out, but I've been hearing it in the business. People told me, when we were even together, people would look at us sideways and I didn't know who they was looking at harder, me or him.
I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
Lisa Ray, I'm going to tell you, I was actually surprised to see you with him.
Y'all don't know shit, okay?
Yes, I do. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Vivica, was it the one like Vivica? Was it like 20 years ago? It was a long time ago, right? It was like around Players Club, right?
Oh,
well, not that old.
I'm a text.
Okay, yeah. Just based on that, man. I'm gonna just say this. Like, I think that when it came to the brat having a conversation with her sister surrounding, sexuality or whatever, maybe, just maybe, that might have had something to do with how she's interacted with her sister when it came to her embracing the fact that that she's bisexual, that she's embracing the fact that she's going to live her life and live her truth in being with a woman and everything else. I think that maybe that had something to do with the fact that, like, Lisa Ray and the brat weren't as close as they possibly used to be, right? Because of some of the attitudes that Lisa Ray has expressed publicly, right? And now this goes into something that I've talked about here in the show. And a lot of times I talked about this in regards to men, right? When I talk to men, when I talk to the brothers, I'm usually talking about it in regards to the sexual assault. Because a lot of brothers, when we talk about sexual assault, they'll talk about how a woman probably asked for it, or they'll blame a woman for what she was wearing that night, or they'll blame a woman for why she was meeting at this time of night with this dude. Why did you go over there to this man's house at this time of night? You know those is prime fucking hours. He thinking it's about to go down, right? And a lot of times when a woman is sexually assaulted, a lot of the blame is laid at her feet, because some dude has decided he's going to misinterpret the intentions and take what he wants, right? But in this particular case, when it comes to how you speak about someone's sexuality, how you speak about their sexual attractions to the same sex, in much the same way that men would talk this shit and not necessarily recognize that their daughters, their sisters, their aunts, their cousins, or whatever would never come to them because of the ways in which they've expressed themselves when it concerns sexual assault. The Brat's sister, Lisa Ray, may never have thought that the ways in which she's expressed herself when it came to the LGBTQ community had probably contributed to the fact that her sister wasn't talking to her. Never considered it. And at the same time, is sitting on a television show, hurt that she had to find out that her sister was engaged. That she was engaged, not only engaged, but she was engaged to a woman. And that she would get on the television show and say, well, I'm glad you finally living in your truth. Or I like, yeah. If you've expressed these sorts of ideas about that particular community on, and this is what we're just getting publicly. Imagine what that's like privately with somebody who doesn't have the cameras in their face and just speaking freely. Right? One has to wonder, like, how that dynamic is when you just alone with your sister and she's trying to tell you something and you ain't hearing it and you talking this cash shit about everybody else that belongs to that community and how that and what that can mean for her when she decides that she wants to like, yo, man, this is who I am. And even when she's extending the olive branch and say, hey, sis, I just want to wish you a happy birthday, it becomes a thing of, I ain't heard from this bitch in months. Like I got to find out like everybody else found out. And I want y'all to take something away from this, like when we get off of here. But I know that like family is supposed to be everything, right? Family is supposed to be everything. These are the people who watched you grow. These are the people who kind of help nurture you. These are the people whom you get like a lifetime of experiences from. But sometimes family can also be just as bad for you as some of these rando motherfuckers on the street. And sometimes it's okay to walk away from those family members, right? Some family members, despite the fact that you guys are blood relatives, despite the fact that you guys share, experiences and relationships with certain people that you both love, that don't mean that y'all got to be close. It don't mean that you got to accept anything from them simply because you share blood with them. You can walk away from a motherfucker to keep your own health and sanity intact. You are not obligated to stay around a person, to tolerate a person who doesn't tolerate your humanity, right? And they can play the victim all they want. You don't call me no more. You don't come around no more. Why I gotta hear about this shit the same time everybody else hear about this shit? Because you know what? I treat you the exact same way I treat everybody else. Family be damned. Because that's the way you made it. Sometimes toxic people don't like to find out that they're the toxic people. And again, this is all speculative as I'm speaking on the Brad and Lisa Ray and everything else. But I'm sure that there's some people who are listening to the sound of my voice right now who can relate to the fact that, like, yo, man, they got family members who don't really fuck with them, but yo, they family, and like sometimes I gotta pretend that I like this motherfucker and I really don't. Right? And like when you get grown, it's different. Like when you're a kid, you gotta kind of tolerate it because you ain't really got no choice. But when you get grown, I ain't got to listen to this motherfucker, man. I ain't got to, why am I dealing with this shit, man? Like, who are you? Right? So yeah, man, I just thought that, like, for one, the questions that I had, for the first question that I had was whether or not it was ever appropriate to like kind of air out any family business on social media, because I've done that before. But the second part about that was, sometimes family got to find out that they're the toxic family member. And I think at that particular moment in time, Lisa Ray may have just found out in front of everybody while she was airing her sister out, may have just found out that she might have been that toxic family member, man. Real talk. But yo, man, that's been Blue Blazers.
What in blue blazes is going on out here? Did this nigga just say blue blazes?
But y'all know what time it is.
That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
That's enough of that shit. Proud to be an American. Time here at the Spann Report podcast, man. And our first story here and proud to be an American is, Breonna Taylor, right? So last week we talked about the fact that Breonna Taylor's killers were not being held accountable for her death, that the Attorney General has declined to issue any indictments of any meaningful way concerning her death, that they gave one officer wanton endangerment because of the bullets going into the apartments of other people who were not killed. But one of the grand jurors on that case has sued the Attorney General, and they wanted the audio from the case that was presented to them released to the public because they believed that Daniel Cameron at the time was lying through his teeth and presenting that case to the American public.
And that'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
So we get the story here. This comes out of Salon.com. It says the grand juror said that AG Daniel Cameron misrepresented the deliberations. Cameron agreed to release the grand jury recording. Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron said he would comply with the judge's order to release the grand jury recording in the Breonna Taylor case after the grand juror alleged that Cameron had misrepresented the deliberations. The juror filed a motion calling for the release of the transcripts on Monday so that the truth may prevail. The grand jury is meant to be a secretive body. It is apparent that the public interest in this case isn't going to allow that to happen. In this, a spokesperson for Cameron said in a statement. Despite the concerns over the release, the Attorney General's office said it would comply with the order to release the recording on Wednesday in response to the juror's complaint. An attorney for the juror told the New York Times that Cameron misrepresented the deliberations and failed to offer the panel the option of indicting the two officers who fatally shot the young woman. The Attorney General's office said it is confident that the case they presented, but acknowledged that jurors were not given the option of indicting Sergeant John Mattingly and Detective Miles Cosgrove's in Taylor's shooting. The evidence supported that Sergeant Mattingly and Detective Cosgrove were justified in their use of force after having been fired upon by Kenneth Walker, Taylor's boyfriend, the statement said. For that reason, the only charge recommended was wanton endangerment. Former Detective Brett Hankinson, the lone officer fired after the shooting, was indicted on 3 counts of wanton endangerment after some of the bullets he blindly fired into Taylor's home struck a wall adjoining her neighbor's apartment. None of the 3 officers who fired their weapons were charged in Taylor's death, even though the city of Louisville agreed to pay Taylor's family $12 million to settle a wrongful death lawsuit. Hankinson pleaded not guilty on Monday. Kevin Kevin Gloglower, the juror's lawyer, told the Times that the juror approached him after the Cameron claimed during a news conference that the state prevented him from charging Mattingly and Cosgrove. While there are 6 possible homicide charges under Kentucky law, these charges are not applicable to the facts before us because our investigation showed and the grand jury agreed that Mattingly and Cosgrove were justified in the return of deadly fire after having been fired upon. So here's the gist of the whole shit. The Attorney General presented a case in which he precluded the grand jury from indicting the officers for the death of Breonna Taylor, right? Let's just get this straight right now. This is what the Attorney General presented to the grand jury. The charges that were filed by the grand jury, the charges that were recommended by the grand jury, those are the charges that they were presented with, right? And there's an adage in in legal, in legal circles that you can pretty much indict a ham sandwich, right? Like if a prosecutor was really searching for an indictment, a prosecutor could go to the grand jury and get an indictment if they present the case that they want, right? And basically what the grand juror is saying is that like, yo, he's trying to use the grand jury proceedings to say that like, yo, this is what the grand jury is recommending, as opposed to this is what the prosecutors presented to us and this is what we had to go by. So Daniel Cameron, as he got up there in front of the news, in front of the cameras and gave that news conference, he's telling you like, yo, this is what the grand jury is recommending. Never mind the fact that this is only what I was presenting to them. And I never gave them the option of giving an indictment on the killing of Breonna Taylor when it came to the other two officers. So the fact that this grand juror came out like, yo, man, this ain't like, this some bullshit, bruh, speaks volumes to the level of mistrust that people already had in the process to begin with. Right? To begin with. Now, again, like we're talking about an attorney general who's aligned himself heavily with the likes of Donald Trump, the likes of Mitch McConnell. Like he's a black man, right? And I think like I know a lot of like white folks tend to get confused with this shit. Like they think, well, he's a black guy, man. It can't be fucking racist, man. He's a black guy, as if black people haven't necessarily been like you. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. So there are black people who can be like, you know, racist against black people. There are women who can be misogynistic against other women. There can be gay people who are homophobic against other gay people. Like the simple fact that these people are a part of a certain community that does not mean that they can't also harbor ill views or prejudicial views towards the same group. They see themselves as a part or as separate from those people within the same group. They see themselves as separate from that. And so this is how you find a person like Milo Yiannopoulos, a person like a Terry Crews, a person like a Candace Owens, this is how you find these types of people. They see themselves as a part from the rest of the community. They separated themselves from that. They're not like those other Negroes. I'm not like those other gay people. I'm not like those other women over there, the pick-me's and all this other shit. There are people who are within those communities who act as though they're not a part of those communities. And so when a Daniel Cameron comes about, yeah, you can put a black face on it. You can put a black face on it, but that doesn't mean that he has the same sensibilities as most black people do. Because if you look at the overarching reaction that black people have of this, they're like, yo, man, this is fucked up. The fact that you put a black face on the front of it doesn't make it any less fucked up for the rest of the community. Right? So yeah, man. The fact that a grand juror has gone against precedent and like, yo, man, we got to put that fucking audio out, because ain't no way in hell he's gonna put this blame on us, because that's truthfully what was happening here. Daniel Cameron was trying to absolve himself from the indictments or lack thereof that came about from this Breonna Taylor case. That's what was happening here. If I can just say, well, the grand jury, this is what the grand jury has recommended, then this is what we're going to go with. Meanwhile, the grand jury is like, no, nigga, that's what you presented to us. This is the only choices we had was what you presented to us. And so, yeah, man. Again, as we talked about Breonna Taylor's family getting the $12 million, I thought it was, for one, I'm happy for her family for getting some level of recompense. And I'm also happy that the family was able to negotiate some level of police reforms to happen in the state of Kentucky. But that doesn't also mean that the state of Kentucky is off the hook because they did not indict the killers they didn't even bring charges against the killers of Breonna Taylor. Like, that's some American ass shit if I ever seen it, man. But that's in Proud to Be an American, man. Another story that we got here in Proud to Be an American is so the CDC, a former staffer for Mike Pence, who's the vice president of these United States, has gone on record to say that the CDC was pressured to downplay the coronavirus risk when it came to opening the schools to get the kids to go back. God damn! So we get the story here. This comes out of CNN.com. I believe there's video to this. Let me go ahead and see if I can pull this video up. See if we can chop this up that way. And yeah, there it is. Let me go ahead and pull this up like that. And we could do this here. All right, computer, let's act like we're trying to do some shit today. I got people watching, baby. All right, let's load up. You know what, Comcast? We're gonna have to have a talk, man. Y'all been on some bullshit, man. Some bullshit. This shit's taking a while. All right, there you go. Look like it's trying to load up now. Let's see what they're talking about. Yeah, my drink is empty. Ain't this bitch? Yo, man, like what's going on here? Like let's play this shit, man. All right, screw this. We're gonna go ahead and read this article. This comes out of we're gonna go ahead and read the article, man. This is taking too long. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention was pushed to play down the risk of coronavirus pandemic and reopening schools for in-person classes. Olivia Troy, a former top advisor to Vice President Mike Pence, confirmed to CNN on Monday. She called a New York Times story about the pressure campaign accurate. Troy, who worked as Pence's lead staffer with the White House Coronavirus Task Force for months before leaving the Trump administration last month, said the situation was a nightmare. Unfortunately, this was an effort, at times where I would get blindsided, where there would be junior staffers being tasked to find different data for charts to show that the virus wasn't as bad for certain populations, ages, and demographics. However, recent studies, including one from South Korea last month, have shown that children can spread the coronavirus just like adults. Troy confirmed an incident in June in which he and those junior staffers, pushed by Pence's chief of staff, Mark Short, tried to circumvent the CDC in finding data on COVID-19 that would better support President Trump's stance that COVID-19 poses little danger to children and that schools should reopen. I'll be damned if this shit. Unraveled. Oh, so now you want to play? Ain't that a bitch? Okay, let's get back. I think I've seen from the beginning the president's narrative.
Search. Unbiased reviews.
And on top of that, you want to try to play a commercial? Fuck you. I think
Undiscovered gems.
What the fuck?
Uncovering the best. CNN underscored. See all our reviews and recommendations.
Let's not, man. Jesus. I think you've seen from the beginning the president's narrative has been everything's fine, everything's okay, time to get back to normal. Let's get to the economy going again. Trump told the governors, you need to open the schools. You need to try to make it seem like everything's okay when in reality it's not. I think it's been because his response has been so broken along the way. It was to tell anything but the truth, Troy said. The dean of tropical medicine at Baylor College of Medicine and a vaccine expert, Dr. Peter Hotez, called it a deliberate disinformation campaign. This is actually one component of a pretty impressive, in a nefarious way, a disinformation campaign, an anti-science disinformation campaign put out by the White House. So, considering everything that we know about, for one, Trump having the coronavirus, and also Trump knowing that the coronavirus was deadly back in like early March, February, sometime around there, we were talking about, we were worried about it, and the fact that he was continuously trying to put reopen the states, get the kids back to school. He's bragging about the Big Ten starting back up. I got the Big Ten football, back open, this and another. He's doing all of this. We've never had a handle on this in this country. We've never had a handle on it. And so, yeah, man. The fact that this is coming from inside the house, the call is coming from inside the house, is surprising to me. But yo, man, that's in proud of being American, man. Like Donald Trump is fuck that guy, man. Fuck that guy. Our last story here, proud to be an American, man. Kyle Rittenhouse's mother went to a Republican women's event and she got a motherfucking standing ovation. Wendy Rittenhouse, mother of Kyle Rittenhouse, a 17-year-old charged with homicide in the shooting deaths of 2 protesters in Kenosha, Wisconsin, joined a right-wing author at a GOP women's event where she received a standing ovation. While Kyle Rittenhouse awaits trial for murder, his mother was partying with his lawyer, right-wing pundit Michelle Malkin, and a crowd of Republican women Thursday night. Malkin, who has even been ousted from some conservative circles for support of anti-Semitic figures, was a featured speaker at the event, according to Bulwark host Charlie Sykes. To be clear about this, at an event sponsored by the Waukesha GOP in Wisconsin, the mother of the 17-year-old boy who took a rifle across state lines to Kenosha and shot 3 people, killing 2, received a standing ovation led by one of the right's most notorious racists. Malkin shared a photo of her own on her own page of herself, Wendy Rittenhouse, and John Pierce, one of the attorneys representing Kyle. She also said she'd been in contact with the 17-year-old defendant by phone and thanked him for his courage. Michelle Malkin tweeted, "Standing ovation from Waukesha County GOP women for my special guest, Callie Kid JMP and Wendy Rittenhouse, Kyle's mom. Huge shout out sent from all of us in Wisconsin to Warrior. I was able to talk to Kyle by phone and thank him for his courage," or better yet, murdering people. Malkin previously characterized the incident that ended with Rittenhouse's allegedly shooting 3 people as a case of the teenager being attacked by a violent mob of criminal thugs and beaten with a skateboard and merely defending himself. His lawyers tell the same story. Another lawyer for Rittenhouse, Lynn Wood, shared Malkin's post declaring that she admired Malkin because he drives leftist militants crazy. I'm going to say this right here, right now, man. For those of you who believe that these people, like when it comes to voting for Donald Trump, to voting for Joe Biden, these are not the same people. These are not 2 sides of the same coin. This isn't the lesser of 2 evils. The fact that these people celebrate a young man who went across state lines with a rifle to quote unquote protect businesses in the community that was not his. And he ended up shooting 3 people, killing 2 people. The fact that they are celebrating and giving his mom standing ovations because she's responsible for him being there is fucking sick. And I truly believe that there is no such thing right now at this point as an undecided voter. I don't believe that to be the case. I don't believe there's anybody in their right fucking mind at this point who can see themselves as a undecided voter. The people who would tell you that they're an undecided voter are Trump voters, and they don't really know how to tell you that they're Trump voters. There's no way in hell, after 4 years of the shit that we've witnessed, that anybody should be on the fence about this shit right here. Not in the least. But yo, man, that's been proud to be an American.
That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
That's enough of that shit, but y'all know what time it is.
The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here!
All right. It's Champ of the Week time here at the Spann Report Podcast, man. And our Champ of the Week this week here at the Spann Report Podcast is none other than former President of the United States, Barack Obama, and former Vice President of these United States, Joe Biden. And the reason why they are the champs of the week this week here at the Spann Report Podcast is because, for one, you know, Donald Trump doesn't know who the fuck I am. Donald Trump doesn't know who the fuck most of his critics are, right? Like, other than the ones that he sees on like the cable news or whatever else, Donald Trump doesn't really know who the fuck we are. Like, he surrounds himself with people who are ready to, you know, carry out whatever it is that he wants them to carry out. He's always in the friendly confines of a Trump rally, or he's in the friendly confines of some Republican establishment sort of meetings or whatever else. Donald Trump is not really plugged in with the pulse of the American people, so to speak, right? And the reason why Barack Obama and Joe Biden are the champs of the week this week is because Barack Obama and Joe Biden are people who they do know this motherfucker. And they've had interactions with this dude. And they've had personal attacks made of them by this dude, right? And yet both of them have come out to say that, like, yo, man, they wish this man a speedy recovery, that they hope his wife and his family are safe, and that they are also going to make a speedy recovery. They are much motherfucking better than I am. Right? Much better than your man Spann. So yeah, they're the champs of the week this week, simply because of that, man. Let me go ahead and pull this video of Barack Obama speaking how he feels when it concerns Donald Trump getting the coronavirus, and hoping that Donald Trump is able to recover from said virus. So let's see if this video finally decides it's going to load the fuck up, because right now Comcast is acting like shit. I don't know why. Yep. Don't want to do it. I ain't mad. I ain't mad. Y'all know what the fuck I said, man. Y'all know what the fuck I said. Yo, man, Barack Obama and Joe Biden, champ of the week this week here at the Spann Report podcast, man. Real talk. And that is in the chat room. She's like, Donald Trump don't even know who he is. Yo, man, real talk. Real talk. That's crazy, but that's what it is, man, for real. But yo, it's time for me to get on up off here. I've been running my mouth for quite some time. But of course, before we do that, I got to remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at the Spann Report podcast and let your voice be heard. You can go ahead and hit up the hotline at area code 313-288-0485. There's area code 313-288-0485. Leave those voicemail messages. And of course, those messages will get responded here live on the show. And I'll play those messages here live on the show. You can also email us here at feedback@thespannreport.com. That's feedback@thespannreport.com. Go ahead, leave us those emails. And of course, those emails will get read here and replied to here live as well. Follow your man Spann here on Twitter and Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So go ahead and follow me there. Chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. Also, hit up our website at www.thespannreport.com. Go ahead and watch replays of the show there. You can leave comments there on the website. You can donate to the show as often as you like, as much as you like. And of course, we really do appreciate every dime over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network. You can also, hit up our store, man. Get yourself some merch. Get yourself a fly t-shirt or a coffee mug or a hoodie, man, because it's hoodie season. It's getting cold outside. Wrap yourself up in the warmth of a Spann Report Podcast Network hoodie, man. Real talk. That'd be dope. That'd be dope for real. But yo, man, it is time for us to go, and I will talk to you guys again. But until next time, fam, peace.